everyone. This is Shannon Quigley, and I am the District Technology Coordinator for the Northside Schools. And we're here at Harris Elementary today for our STEM and STEAM resources for every class. So I've got this beautiful suit with
a cat suit.
Suit.
I'm Steve Armstrong. I'm the Wayne District Family Technology Coordinator. So happy to be with you guys today. This is our Christmas version of our integrated live stream video cast.
And first, we just want to take a second to thank you all for tuning in. This is our third integrated live stream of our pilot, and we are going to be continuing this kind of series after the new year starts, but it's going to be open to everybody in the district. So we really appreciate you being a kind of our test group and giving us great feedback, and hopefully it's been beneficial for you as well. So we'll fill you in on more what that's going to look like after the new year at the end of our presentation today.
Awesome. So we actually themed this live stream today around Christmas, obviously, because the holidays are coming up. But also, if you saw our promo video that we sent out yesterday to hype this up, Shannon and I took a tour of the Embassy Theaters, the Festival of Trees, and we got a video here to show you. So that is coming up. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Mark. And a bunch of trees. This one here that we had actually in our backdrop was a stem tree they made out of rubber and a bunch of different things there to show how STEM is tied into Christmas and everything. It was really neat. Yeah. And so we really enjoyed the tour. One of the cool things is we've actually had Snyder students perform at the Black Violin down at the Embassy Theater. So just the tie-in for some of the lessons we're working on with the community and stuff. The Embassy Theater is there to help us, and so that's really neat.
Right, yeah, and so one of the things we're trying to do is, as we're leveraging digital into classrooms, is to reach out to community members that we know have interest in technology or STEM, STEAM resources, and kind of reach out to them to create connections for you all as well. So when you have a project like this going on, we can talk to you about how you can work with them.
Yeah, excellent. And at the end there, that was just how we did the promo video. How Shannon and I, the snap of Shannon's fingers would just disappeared. So I threw that little teaser in there as well.
Yeah,
so
great.
Excellent. All right, so we have a couple tools we're going to cover today. The first one being our merge cube, and that's this little guy right here. And this, we have two of these here that we're going to cover or give out later. But this is an AR VR merge cube, and AR is augmented reality. And then VR is virtual reality. Two different technologies we're really trying to get out into classrooms to use to support instruction as well. And so we'll kind of dive into this in a little bit here. And then Shannon, what's the second one?
Okay, so the second one we're going to be showing you is the Sphero Bolt. And the Sphero Bolt is a coatable ball that you can use and integrate into many different types of lessons. So one of the things that we have kind of sensed throughout our schools, that there are some schools that are identified for STEM and STEAM. But the tools we're going to be showing you today are really going to be available for every school. So whether you're designated STEM or STEAM or not, these are going to be things that you can use in your classroom regardless of what you teach or what level you teach. So that's why we kind of picked these two resources to start with, because they're easy launching points into STEM and STEAM for your classrooms. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you an overview, provide you with some ways you can integrate it into your curriculum, and then go from there.
Go from there, yep. And one of the cool things in the promo video we had on the Sphero Bolt, this one, you saw me throwing it up in the air and dropping it. It's drop proof, dust proof, and then also it can be submerged, so it's waterproof as well. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, good. So let's go ahead and dive into those things.
I want to say real quick, Shannon, if anybody has a question down in that bottom right corner, you can send a question, and Matt will give those to us at the end so we can try to answer any questions for you as we go.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Okay, so we're going to start with the Sphero Bolt, and the first thing we want to show you is kind of a video of what's happening in one of our classrooms. So when we got these class sets in, we wanted some teachers just to kind of try them out and give us some feedback. So we're going to show you this short little promo video, and there's no sound, so we're going to kind of talk you through what's happening.
And so we sent these bolts out to a couple different classrooms across different grade levels in the district. This one was our good friend Joe Wilhelm at Snyder High School. And so you can see here the students getting the Sphero bolts and starting to use some of the coding that powers those. Right there is kind of an example of that. And then having the bolts run around the classroom and do different tasks and stuff. The students were super excited, as you can see there. Really had a lot of fun with these. And what's really neat about the Sphero Bolt is we can use it in all of our grade levels, pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. So it's rugged enough, but yet easy enough to use for our littler kids.
Right. So it can be, this is a programmable ball, and you can see what the students in the video were doing were they were using block-based coding. So they were coding the ball to move around their classroom. But there is a control that you don't even have to use coding for it. So if you have kindergarten students, they could easily jump on this app and move the ball around to do different activities within their classroom. Okay. So let's go ahead and show you some real life examples of how this can be used in your room.
Excellent. We'll go back to your screen, Shannon.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start and just kind of show you. One of the great things about the Sphero Bolt is, although we have computer science standards written into our curriculum, this is a great supplemental tool. So on the Sphero site, once you get your Sphero Bolts in the classroom or you want to try these out, the first thing you do is kind of create an account on their site. So on the screen, you can see on the left-hand side, there's two types of resources. There's resources created by Sphero that are easy for you just to open up, assign to your class if you have students loaded, or you can just pull one lesson up and print it out or use it with your class that way. And on the, sorry, are we having a sound issue for a second? We're good?
Good.
Okay. Okay, and then on the right-hand side, you can see there are teacher-created activities. So these, for me, were a little bit more meaningful. I could see me really putting these into my classroom. So those are the ones I'm going to sort of highlight for you today, just to kind of give you some thought process around why would I want to bring these into my class for something else. So the first one is just a Let's Meet Sphero activity. So you get these in your classroom the first day. This activity is already pre-built for you, and you can just kind of walk through step by step what's happening. It teaches kids how to use the iPad or the Lenovo to program it. So step by step, first figure out how to use the speed, figure out how to turn it. And each way along the steps, kids just check off a pre-made template of what they've done. So this is a great one that if you as a teacher aren't an expert on Sphero, it's already built for you. And one of the things, we were at Forest Park yesterday, and one of the teachers said this really great quote that we'll probably highlight over and over again, but what he said is like, I finally gave the students control, and now I'm not scared to do it anymore because the kids really helped him learn. So don't feel like you have to be an expert in any of this, really. Okay. Okay, so this is a really fun example. And one of the things we're continuing to talk about is integration with STEM and STEAM. So this is a STEAM resource. So painting with the Sphero, like Steve said, you can get this wet, you can get this, you can drop it. So you can see this is actually a picture from Young of kids using the Sphero with paint. So the teacher has read a story, an English language arts story, connected it with their art class, and now the kids can use this codable ball. They're probably using just the free range since it's Young. They just have where they can control the Sphero with their finger. They don't have to use the coding blocks, and they can create art with the Sphero.
Awesome. And what's really neat about this is these are actually our students and stuff that we took pictures of and stuff. So it's not clip art or stuff we got off the web and stuff. So
right.
I love seeing that.
Okay. The next one is, this one is just kind of a good example for me with the holiday season. If you had these in your class this week, one of the things kids are really excited about, obviously, is Santa. So this would be a great opportunity for you to incorporate language arts and math. So the first thing is you would have your students write a story about Santa delivering different items around a country or the city, and establish different places in your classroom, which would be those locations where you want the Sphero to be Santa and deliver them. So students first write the story. Second, they determine the locations. Then they have to do math to figure out how many degrees they need the Sphero to turn to make it to those locations. Wow. They have to figure out the time it takes for it to stop, how fast they want it to travel. So they have to record all of those things and then complete a task around their room to get that going. So now we've got a language arts, math, and computer science lesson all wrapped up with the Spheros. And the beauty is kids are having so much fun, they don't really think of it as those three components. Cool. So that would be a great thing to start. And if it's not Christmas time, you could easily adapt that to just any sort of activity.
Definitely.
Okay. Now this is one that we're excited because we are going to actually show you this one live in the room. So this is called Knock 'em Down Sphero Bowling. So if you think this is just for in your classroom, this could also be a PE activity. So if you've got your bowling unit coming up and you want to try using Sphero bolts as a component to that, so students have practiced with bowling, now they're going to code this ball to be their bowling ball. So we're going to kind of show you how this is going to look in your classroom. And I'm going to actually, before I get there, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
You're good there.
Okay.
Yeah, and so before Shannon, you head over to do this, we have a quick video, I think.
Yep.
Are we about ready for that?
Yeah, let me show them my screen real quick, because when I go over there, you won't be able to see this.
Okay.
But this is what the iPad looks like in the platform when I go over there. Every program that I've coded my Sphero to do is living right here. And I use the block-based coding for this. And Steve and I were talking earlier, and really, I'm probably on like a middle school level coder. So
I'm an elementary level coder.
Okay.
And our boss Jack would totally agree with that.
Yes, he probably would.
Yes.
And so you don't have to be an expert to do this. So your kids would easily figure this out. If you've ever done code.org and let your students loose, you know that they'll pick this up really quickly. So here's the code that I wrote to make my bowling ball
they're
work.
Looking at this on their computers, wherever they're at right now, the picture on the right is what your iPad screen is going to look like.
Right, and I just drug these blocks up here to describe what I wanted the Sphero to do. Okay. All right. So while I'm doing that, Steve's going to explain how we even got these bowling pins.
Yep. Okay. So we'll stay on the computer here, Mark. And so what's really neat about this, we had these bowling pins, and I'll show you them in a little bit. But we challenged our friends back in the curriculum department, Rick, Herbert, and Rachel, to kind of come up with a design for these. And they actually 3D printed them for us. And so and it takes about 2 hours to create each one of those. So rather than us go out and buy different things that interact with the Spheros, they printed them for us. And this is so cool. So I'll go ahead and click play on this video. And there's no sound on this again. But this is a 2-hour process that I sped up real fast. And you can kind of see our 3D printer being spitting out that ink there to create this bowling pin. And so that's what we're left with right there. They're about 8 inches tall. There's so many cool things that you can do with the 3D printing. We'll tell you more about that later. But Shannon, take it away.
Okay, so I've got my code here that I just showed you on my iPad, and I'm ready to go. So one of the things that we learned, and again, we learned just by trying it out like you would. So I've got my Sphero bowling ball, and I'm going to set it here on the ground. I'm going to try to line it up. One of the things is I want to make sure that it's going to start out in the direction I want. So I'm going to click a little aim button here, and you can see there's a blue light that's come onto the Sphero. And when I move this around in a circle, it's moving the blue light towards me. So that's going to give me my starting point. Now I notice it's kind of moved off center, so I'm going to change it here. And one thing that I noticed earlier when we were practicing is I had my Sphero going 0 degrees, so I want it to go straight at a speed, which is a number I chose, and then I had it for 7 seconds. And when I thought that was a short time, but when I let it go, it went so far, it ran into the wall and kept going. So I know that 7 seconds is a little bit too long. So this is, again, something your students might want to do. So I'm going to change it if I can here. No, I'll just do it. So I got my duration, and I'm going to change that just to 4 seconds and see how that treats me here. Okay, so now here's the moment of truth. I've got my bowling ball coded. We're going to see if I can knock down the pins. Okay, we're ready. I'm going to hit start. Oh, it's off. Okay,
Shannon,
that's okay.
That would be a gutter ball.
That's a gutter ball. But I don't give up. So if I was scoring this in class, I'd have to give myself a 0 there. But I'm going to try again. Hopefully this time we'll get it through. Okay, we line her up first. Okay. Okay, well, I got one.
You got one pin.
So,
good.
And see, when it hit the end, I had it programmed to say booyah. So it hit a pin, it made it through, and I would keep going. So you'd keep working through as a student.
Awesome.
All right.
That's really cool. And in practice, you actually had 3 of the 6 pins, so you did much better. But I know we've done this at Irwin Elementary, one of my schools, and the kids just love it. So
yep.
I want to go over real quick on those Sphero bolts. We have 4 class sets of 15 to send out to schools, and you'll give us a form for that later.
Yep.
But we have 4 class sets of those, and also these will work. You can use your Lenovo student laptop to control them, and we also have some of the more advanced coding stuff requires an iPad, and so we have class sets of iPads to send with the Spheros if you don't have iPads at your school.
Okay.
So it's really cool.
Yep.
So
good
job. You hit 1. You didn't give up though after the gutter ball.
That's true.
So, good way
I'm
not
still
to quit
learning.
There. Yes, you're
so
still
now
learning.
maybe Jack's going to put me down at the elementary level
yes,
of coding.
He'll probably do that. Yes. Hopefully we get a text on that soon.
Okay.
Okay. So we got our next tool that we're going to talk about today, and that is this merge cube. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of cool things that you can do with it. And before we do that, I put together a video for that, and we'll kind of talk to you about what that is in the video here. So we'll go to, there we go, and we'll click play.
And one of the things we like, just as this is getting started, you're going to see some cool augmented reality coming up. Yep. But what we like about this is the ease of use for students. So this is, again, a tool that can be used from K-12 because it's really essentially a QR type reader that these apps are using to create these AR experience for students.
Yep, so it has all these different codes, and we'll show you in a second, on each side of this cube. and each code does something different, much like the QR code.
Mhm.
But what's really neat is you'll use an iPad, and you'll point the iPad like you would a QR code at this cube. And what you're seeing now on the screen is what the kids will see on their screen of the iPad. And so there's like 100 million different things, probably not that many, but different apps and stuff that you can use with this one little QR, this merge cube. You can do it in anatomy, kind of like the brain here. There's the lungs, and you can actually zoom in and see the lungs and the heart kind of pumping. And so I put together a bunch in this video here. There's the heart pumping. I put together a bunch of them. It's probably a lot of things, but I thought, man, there's so many things that this little box does, but this just scratches the surface is what you can do with this.
Right. And again, we just wanted to highlight for you. And one of the reasons we didn't show you in person is because they come with a unique code, and we wanted to give these to you guys to use. So by not using those codes, we can send them out to you. So that's kind of why we're showing these videos, just to kind of open your mind to what it could be. And again, in just a second, when this wraps up, we're going to show you some ways you can integrate it into your lessons.
Cool. Okay. Excellent. Yep. And this one I think was an elementary lesson, which would be really cool for the little ones to kind of bring those dinosaurs to life, just like they are right there.
Right. And especially since this is going to give them opportunities outside their classroom walls. So a lot of things that you saw, like the museums, we just cannot take students to. So now they get that experience without having to leave their classroom.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so how the Merge Cube works is the Merge has something called a Miniverse. And so that is kind of their app portal per se. So you can see there's a lot of free apps that you can use to get access to the AR experiences that we just saw. So I'm going to show you a couple that I think are worth highlighting. The first one is the Merge Explorer. And what I liked about this one is made by the Merge Cube, and it has a lot of those learning experiences. So you can see up here in the corner is a frog dissection. And that was one of my least favorite days of high school, is when we had to dissect a frog. So now I could do that through my Merge Cube without ever having to physically touch a frog. So
is that because your favorite show growing up was Froggy's Pad, and like you just put Froggy and this frog together?
I think I'm too young for that.
You're too young. Okay, you don't even know Happy the Hobo then.
Yeah. Oh, I did meet him once.
Right.
Okay.
You did meet him. Yeah, I think I called in sick that day to school too.
Yeah.
I am not dissecting a frog.
Right, but that would be a great thing for students who even if you don't have access to frogs, or you want to do it at a different grade level after they've done it, this is another great learning tool or resource outside of that. The same with the one below. This is, if you are working on the study of the earth, now you can have the kids really learn about the rotation of the earth, understand how the earth and the sun move together. That isn't something that you could even do without this. I mean, you could have a model, but this would be much easier for you to do in your classroom and for kids to experience.
It just brings it to life right there in front of them.
Right. Yep. Okay. So let's move on to another one. The next one I really liked was this shapes tool. So this is, again, I know a lot of, well, pretty much every math standard has a geometry section where they're focusing on shapes. So this goes from the elementary level up to higher level geometry, where you have to worry about vertices, faces, getting angles. Again, not a math major, but this is a lot. The depths that it can go was pretty far. So I thought this would be a great tool to start with at any level. If you just want kids to explore shapes and you don't have enough 3D models for the whole class, this would be a great way for them to really explore the different sides of the shapes.
Yeah, and I think everything you're telling us, Shannon, really adds up.
Very good. Yes, it does. So they can get the volume of these shapes. They can find a lot of different information, but it's an easy, free one that you could use to start with. Okay. This is the one we kind of really thought about, even the Snyder bio program, because now you can see the anatomy AR for Merge Cube. We saw it in the video of the heart and the lungs pumping. That gives students a different experience of even watching it. Now they can kind of see it in 3D in front of them to explore a little bit further. And they could create projects that focus on the integration of the Merge Cube within their lessons.
Awesome.
Okay, so now let's kind of get into how you can get these devices in your classroom. So the Merge Cube is a little bit different because right now we just have the 2 to give away.
And we're giving those to teachers and they can keep them forever.
Right, you can use them as you want. But we would like to hear back if you win one, how kind of you've used it within your classroom. That would be great for us to be able to kind of share out more ideas. Okay, and then the one that you probably want to really know about is checking out the Sphero bolts. So the Sphero bolts are going to work on a checkout system. So I've got a bit.ly up here that we will post on the technology resource page. And all you do is you're going to click this, and it's got a Google form for you to fill out your name, what you teach, where you teach, and we'll sort of be the delivery people for you. So if you check it out, you're going to get it for 4 days, well, really a whole week, but 4 days with students. So we would drop them off to you on a Friday. and then we would pick them up on the following Friday. So you would have 4 days that you could use them in your classroom. And again, we just kind of ask that you include a little bit of an idea. It doesn't have to be a well planned out lesson plan at this point, just kind of what you're going to use them for so that we can offer supports if we need to.
And I know Rachel and Rick have already sent some sets out to their schools and have lesson plans built already.
Okay,
and
great.
on the website as well. So we already have a lot of those built for you. You just really need to take them, read over the lesson plan, and have fun with them.
And even if you're just saying, I want to use them to explore with my students, that's fine. We want to get these out in classrooms.
Yep.
So go ahead and feel free to spread the word that these are available for checkout. Okay. And again, we just want to check in about TechMiss. One of the things that we did this December was the 12 days of TechMiss, and we've had such a great response to those activities. We've had a ton of people completing at least one day, and some have even completed all 12 days because today was the final day of TechMiss. But don't worry, it's not like it's over. We're going to keep it open for you to work through until the end of the first week of January that we're back. So if you haven't completed all those tasks, you can still dive in over Christmas break and learn about just quick little snippets of tools that we have available to you in the district.
Yep. And we also have a link up in our CAI update, I believe, as well.
Yep.
You and I were out at a school this week, Forest Park, and they took one of the TechMiss ideas that Matt and the team put together on Adobe Spark.
Yep.
And they're like, man, this is really cool. We could use this in the classroom. So they literally, as Shannon and I were still sitting there, took it back to the classroom. About an hour later, they sent a second grade student back down to us. We took a video of the presentation that he had made on his iPad with Adobe Spark, just in a matter of about an hour. So it was really cool. The link to that video is in the CAI update, so check that out. Jennifer Mabel and the curriculum department do a great job of putting that together and sending that out every week. So check that out. We got a little technology spot in there, and we're excited to work with them on that. And
it was really cute. The student, we asked him, like, did you like this better than the other? Because the teacher had just taken like a worksheet she was going to have them read and tell about Christmases around the world. And he's like, well, in the old days, we used to answer the questions on paper, and now we use this program, meaning the old days like one day ago. So
yes, yeah, exactly.
The times have changed there.
Cute little guy, man. He was so cool.
So it was kind of funny. But yeah, so anyway, that we're going to kind of keep the feeling of TechMiss alive through that CAI update. So you'll kind of continue to get some ideas or tips for things you can go back and use right away.
Yeah, and I know we had a couple teachers ask us, I didn't get to it, but I wanted to over Christmas break. Can I still do that?
Yep.
We asked Matt and the team, and he's like, yep, definitely. That'll be open so you can get into that TechMiss over Christmas break if you want to.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so as we're kind of wrapping up here, we told you that this was going to be a 3-part pilot for you. So on the screen, I have a survey for the bit.ly to get to the last survey for you. And we'll also send this out in the resources that we provide tomorrow. So don't panic, but we'll get that to you. But right below it is kind of the part we want to focus on today. You've heard us say the word integrated a lot, and you've probably heard that that's kind of our new technology team name for ourselves is Integrated by FWCS or FWCS Integrated. And below you can see what our logo is going to look like. So we told you if you participated in at least 2 of the 3 integrated.
I thought it was 3 of 3.
Well,
but Merry Christmas from Shannon, right?
That's right.
Because you only needed to participate in 2.
Yep. And we're going to send you some integrated swag because we kind of feel like you guys are our ambassadors now for this program and what we're trying to do. So if you could, now that we open this up to the rest of the Fort Wayne Schools community, you can kind of spread what it's like to participate in these and the value that you probably got or hopefully got from them.
Absolutely. And that's not a drawing for that. The Merge Cube is a drawing, but we're sending that integrated swag to everybody that joined us.
Yep.
So it's super exciting. And I want to point out too, if you were at our Ignite conference over the last summer, we had a student from our Anthus Career Academy design that logo for us. This integrated logo, we gave the challenge to Karen Gilly's team over at Anthus again, and that was Shakira Satter. She's a Southside student. She was the one that won the contest for creating this integrated logo. So our students here at FWCS created this for us. We're super excited to use it. We've got a bunch of different versions, so you'll see that everywhere that we're broadcasting the integrated name out. So
Great.
Super exciting. So a lot more exciting news coming up next too, right?
Okay.
So
all right, I'm going to move out of the screen here.
With the integrated and adding all this new technology to deliver to you guys in different ways, we have a new team member here. So Shannon's staying on the team. She just left the frame.
Sorry.
They didn't but this is Ms. Sarah Shipe, and she is the instructional coach here at Harris Elementary. But in June, she's going to be joining our team as a technology coordinator. She'll actually be taking over the Wayne family of schools from me, and I'll do the digital content coordinator stuff like interactive PLs and this live stream and stuff will kind of be my niche thing. And Sarah will have the Wayne family. We're so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes, so we talked about the pilot in January. We're rolling this live stream out to everybody in the district every month. Tell us a little bit about that.
So luckily, some of these have been kind of covered during TechMiss, but starting in January.
I'll give you my mic.
Thank you.
Definitely.
People want to hear what I have to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Starting in January, the first one we're going to be working on is Google Forms. So you'll be able to learn a little bit more about that and how to use that and implement that in your classroom. February, we're going into 3D printing, which will be really cool.
Yes, 3D printing. So Rachel Dickerhoof from Curriculum and Rick Herber, our other technology coordinator. Rick is in the Northrop family, and Diana Fulton, our Southside family. Shannon, Northside, and Matt is our Snyder family. We're all over the place, but Rachel and Rick will be leading the 3D printing, and they'll show you how to use the 3D printers that they're rolling out to all the schools right now to create stuff for like the Spiros and then other science and math curriculum pieces. So we're excited about that and to have them with us there.
Okay. Then starting in March, we'll be looking at Screencastify, which was one that was introduced during TechMiss, and that is going to be great for all different levels and using that in classrooms. HyperDocs will be in April, a good way to get kids working on Google Docs and having quick links to things, and then Chrome extensions and add-ons in May. So that'll wrap it up.
Excellent. And Mark, if you just want to go back to our PC screen here, so we can see what's on there, so we can see a list of these dates. We might have froze up on that, so we'll just keep rolling. That's right, Mark's working on it. So
well, while we've got a minute, we have a couple minutes left. Do we have any questions that we need to answer before? Can they hear us?
Okay.
But it sounds like, yes, Diane said, yep, but we can still hear you.
Okay, well, good. Just enjoy our voices.
Yes, there were a couple of questions. So first of all, just go over again how people can use or win, the merge cubes.
You are entered in the drawing for the merge cube today if you fill out the survey. We'll use those as our entries, and we'll give you until, gosh, I know it's Christmas break tomorrow, so you're not going to have a ton of time. So let's give you to the first week of January when we close TechMiss that Friday. We'll draw for those on that day. So it gives you a couple weeks to fill it out.
Okay. And just scrolling through here, I do not believe there's any other questions, but our technology coordinator, joke coordinator extraordinaire did submit a joke. Are we ready?
We're ready for a joke, yes.
Is that Rick?
As obviously
Rick.
Mr. Rick.
Okay.
It's a pretty good one. I'll give this a 4 out of 5 stars. What do you call a snowman with a six-pack? What do you call a snowman with a six-pack?
I don't know, Sarah. Do you?
I know the answer, so I'm
okay.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be the. I'm not even going to say
abdominal.
Abdominal snowman. See, I'm a horrible jokester.
Rick, we need you here for the delivery.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Abdominal snowman.
Abdominal snowman.
Okay. We like it. Okay, good.
Was
Well,
that the last question?
I believe so.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We're super excited to be able to share these resources with you, and we can't wait to see how you use them in your classroom. So we're just going to end by wishing you all happy holidays, and I hope you get a chance to rest over break, and we'll see you back in January.
Thanks, guys.